This is my raw review of the 17th June 2025 edition, and a show which I felt was kind of like middle of the road because it's the second week, it's the week before the go home show. Generally, those shows are either like very great or like fine because you want to have the big stuff on the main show. But this show ended really good. Starting first, Goldberg is back. We had Gunther addressing that that Jay was better than him for one night, and that so now that that's over. My eyes are on Seth Rollins because a few weeks ago he said that I will be a target, so I'm like, bring it on. Kind of like foreshadowing a lot of things that maybe this Goldberg Gunther stuff will have a Seth Rollins lurking around. Like, I can see Seth trying to make a cash in. Like, if they are doing like Vince level booking, they can have Seth cash in, pin Goldberg, become the world champion, and you can still do Goldberg versus Gunther second time at SummerSlam, because you can say that that no one really won, and that now both have nothing to lose. Goldberg, Gunther can be angry that that Seth took my title, I'm going to destroy you. You can do that also. Or the better thing will be, you can have Seth trying to fake a cash in, but then you can have the baby faces kind of like attack him and everything, and then you can have Goldberg have a near fall, but that's a near fall, and in the end, Gunther still beats Goldberg. One thing that I don't get is, this is kind of like what happens whenever Goldberg returns. He just returns, he says that you are mine, you're next, and that match just gets official, and that's fine. But why for the World Heavyweight Championship? I hope Gunther comes next week or the week after and says that what has Goldberg done to deserve World Heavyweight Championship match. So if you want me to face him, I will withdraw from the match unless you have him put his career on the line, because a title versus retirement storyline wise makes more sense. Like, I would have had Gunther say this to Goldberg. You had Gunther looking scared of Goldberg in the ring, which I don't get. I get it what they're trying to do. That Goldberg is kind of like the heel, Gunther is kind of like the heel who says stuff, but then also runs away. And then when a person gets really angry, he also is like, oh, maybe he can beat my ass. But I didn't like that. But okay, you're doing the match. It's just that I hope that it could have been a big thing in the segment if like it didn't end with the typical whatever happens, like Goldberg always has the music going off and everything. You can have Gunther like, you know, leave with a cliffhanger that I will put my title on the line if you put your career in the line. And it can have, you can have like Goldberg like looking at himself and then just be the old Goldberg, yes, I accept. But now you just have them face for the world championship, and this makes me a little bit scared. Like, what if this is not his retirement match? What if he does win the World Heavyweight Championship and maybe he loses it like at SummerSlam or something? The rest of the show, I think, was good. I think matches were very good. You had AJ versus JD McDonough, which was, I kind of like what the AJ matches have been. Like 80% is just the other opponent like beating AJ down. So JD really looked like an equal in this match. He was really beating AJ Styles down, but in the end, AJ got the better even after Dominic tried to interfere. Like, Styles Clash out of nowhere is kind of like the new thing for AJ Styles. I really like it, and he looked at Dominic while making the pin, because you had like a backstage segment where Finn wanted to come with JD, but Dominic said, you already lost a match, don't come. You had the fatal four way, you had Raquel lying there, you had Roxanne there, and you had the fatal four way starting the show where Asuka returned. I don't like Asuka's new finish, which is essentially a rare end, which was Naomi's finisher. Like, you could have given her a better move. Asuka looks like she's giving her all in the ring. Of course, she will never be her like NXT best in the ring, because she's older now. but she looks like she's locked in. Like she's giving her best. Like she was absolutely gassed out of the match. One thing I didn't like was that you would have had Ivy Nile in the position rather than Stephanie Raquel. Like that she hit the Tahuma bomb or whatever it is called. Raquel hit her, and then you had Rhea Ripley interfere, which is fine, but it kind of makes it look like Stephanie just escaped losing because Rhea Ripley interfered. So it kind of like Stephanie didn't take the pin, but it does make Stephanie look weak. That if Rhea was not there, Raquel would have easily beaten Stephanie. The match was really good. Like I liked the kicks. Like one kick, like really connected to like the face or something. Like Ivy's German suplexes were very, very good. Asuka's offense looked very good. Stephanie's devil's kiss on the apron to Raquel Rodriguez looked really good. I think the only person who didn't really look great in the match was Raquel because her offense is a little bit like plodding, kind of like a little bit like Omos. Like she sounds intimidating in Spanish. She doesn't sound intimidating in English at all. But I think everyone looked well. You had a "This is awesome" chant also. I have liked this King and Queen of the Ring a lot. Like every match has been like good, or it has felt important. Like even it feels like the competitors in the match give more than they usually give for like if it was like a normal match or something. So I really liked Asuka won after the match. Kathy was like giving her an interview, and Asuka was like, nobody is ready for Asuka. So you're having Asuka versus Alexa Bliss and Roxanne versus Jade Cargill next week. Also talking about the Judgment Day. So you had the Liv, the backstage segment where Liv was going to have a match with Kairi Sane, and Finn was talking about a plan with Rox, and Raquel was looking. Finn was also trying to manipulate Raquel. Unfortunately, in the Liv versus Kyrie match, it was a perfectly normal shoulder takedown. You can't really blame Kyrie for that because uh, Liv does what every wrestler does. They try to protect them on the fall, but the way she fell, like she fell on her shoulder. Her shoulder like hit the mat, and from what we have, and the match didn't happen. So the match happened, but then it was announced that Kyrie is the winner because Liv couldn't compete. I think it was a little bit funny that Liv is clearly like real life injured, and you have Kyrie like rolling around in the ring after winning the match. Though I don't blame her. It's just that the situation is very funny to me. Like you have a legit injured person in the back, and you have the other opponent rolling around in the ring. I'm glad that Kyrie got the win. You had the opening segment also where Liv called out EO. EO has improved her English a lot. She was getting a lot of cheers, and this was setting up an EO versus Liv match. So EO did took a little bit of time hitting that drop kick after throwing the title at her. They can do an EO versus Kyrie match maybe at night. I do think this was probably the plan that you're going to have the Women's Queen of the Ring finals, and you're going to have EO Sky defending her championship at Night of Champions. The thing with Liv's injury is that she is involved in like three storylines. Like she is involved in the Roxanne storyline, which is like the long-term stuff. She is involved right now in the Liv EO storyline. She is involved in the Nikki Bella storyline as well. So you don't really know. Like some wrestling like accounts were saying that it can be 3 to 4 months. Like some like big who have like broken news before, but some were saying that it depends. It can be 2 weeks also, it can be 2 months also. I hope it's not long because if Liv is gone, I do think they're gonna have to replace Liv with Roxanne as Raquel's tag team partner, and you can have Roxanne and Raquel versus the Bella sisters at Evolution. What does EO do? I don't know what does EO do now, because are you gonna like go another month without a title defense? Like she has not defended her title since WrestleMania. Like it's been months already. It's been a long time. Like it's been 58 days or something, and EO has not defended her title once. So they can have they can have Roxanne going against EO for the women's championship. You can have some stuff with Raquel and Finn, even like a Dom like inadvertently costing Roxanne her match. But you need to get that title defense. I do think you need to get that title defense off now, because that's kind of like an albatross around EO's neck, and every like champion who has not defended their title a lot, you need to get that one, and then you can have another one at Evolution. Like now, what does happen at Evolution? Because Rhea Ripley interfered in that Raquel match. So I do think it's not the Bella sisters. It's probably Rhea and Nikki versus Liv and Raquel, and now probably Roxanne and Raquel. And I can see Rhea taking the pin because it's Evolution. I don't think you're gonna have your baby face lose, especially like your most over baby face in the company. Though it is not a bad feud, it's a pretty simple feud. You interfered in my match, I interfered in yours, so let's fight. But the thing is, it kind of feels like it's a feud, mm, like built because they wanted a feud, like kind of like that Lyra and Bailey versus Liv and Raquel. Like it was not a bad feud. It was just, it felt like, oh, we need to have something for them. We don't really have anything, so just do like a basic feud. So this feels like that. Like this really hurts the Raw women's division a lot. But maybe now they can pivot, and maybe they need to find creative ways to book their women's division, and hoping for a speedy recovery for Liv Morgan. My heartfelt prayers for her. And going forward, I think probably the best segment which happened on the show was the Becky and Bayley segment, where Becky came out in the Chicago Bears costume. And okay, the crowd was good this night. Of course, they were booing Dirty Dom and then doing the Dirty Dom chants as well. But okay, I'll give them that. What I won't give them is, you already booed that Bear still suck when Becky was in the ring. Why do the chant again after like Bailey hit her with a punch and Becky is out of the ring? There, you should be booing the wrestler rather than your favorite sports team. Don't come to wrestling shows if your main priority is your sports team on that wrestling show. You did that chant already. You don't need to do it again. And this segment was really good. Like Bailey, I just didn't like her like dapping up all the people, but okay, she's a valiant baby face now. I thought that she was going to be more gritty one, but I do think she's a valiant baby face who is a little bit more level-headed, much less emotional, more gritty baby face. And Bailey's stuff essentially was that, that she has always felt that she has been two rungs below Becky, that that she couldn't reach Becky's level, and that she's out there, and she's gonna take everything that Becky has. And then you had Becky come out, and Bailey called her out. Like she was like, "You are insecure because you had to take me out. You had to make a surprise return because you were not sure whether the people will boo or cheer you." And that Becky said that you carry around your fake friends, that's why you're not on my level. Yeah, like you took being second fiddle as your fate. I didn't. Essentially calling the four horsemen fake. But and then Bailey was like, I don't really need to like be like you. Like I have been at the top. Like I am a future Hall of Famer, and if I have to like have some friends and take the locker room with me to the top, I don't think it's a bad thing. And this was a really good back and forth. I will recommend everyone to check it out. This also feels like this is getting the right attention that it deserves. Like this has layers which I didn't think that they would really go into. I think that they would have stuck just to like Bailey attacking like Becky attacking Bailey, and that maybe they'll look at it in a surface level way, the past, kind of like what Becky has done, like just mentioning that okay, I've been fighting her since like 6 years. But Bailey really like went into it, that Becky is insecure, like she wants their approval, but she knows that she can't get it anymore. Like like Becky has forgotten what it takes to fight and claw her way, and Becky was like, yeah, I don't. I don't remember the last time I had to fight. Do you remember the last time you had gold? Which really got me. The line was like, oh. But the thing is, uh, Bailey just had gold in August last year. Like she lost her women's championship at SummerSlam, so it's not been even a year since she didn't have gold. But this was really good. Becky tried to hit a slap, which I didn't think it connected, but then Bailey hit like a nasty forearm, like which really connected, and then Becky was out of the ring. Uh, Becky actually accepted a non-title match against Bailey, which I thought was probably the better direction which they were thinking of going into, which was that I would have thought that maybe Bailey versus Becky happens for a non-title match next week. You have Lyra interfere, Bailey wins, but then maybe you have a Lyra versus Bailey match for the number one contenders. Becky interferes. That way you can uh, like fend off her first title defense till Evolution. But no, like Nick Aldis actually told it was Nick Aldis. Yeah, Nick Aldis is there. I don't think Adam Pearce has been there for a while. So Nick Aldis was there, and Nick Aldis said that. Uh, Nick Aldis said that next, like Becky took you out of a title match, so I think you deserve one. So next week, in Columbus, you're gonna face Becky for the Intercontinental Championship. I do think that is. I don't think that's main eventing the show. I do think Cody versus Jey Uso. Spoiler alert. That's probably gonna main event the show. And then that has been said. I do think probably Lyra interferes, probably trying to help Bailey, but Becky wins. Or either Lyra is so irate at Becky Lynch that where she can like goads her into like making a disqualification. So like Becky retains the title, but she retains by disqualification. So like you can then uh, like still like keep that Becky versus Bailey match like fresh and ready for SummerSlam. Maybe that happens. So you had Bailey and Lyra also having a conversation where Bailey apologized for not picking up her call. She was like, I was focusing on my recovery, I was focusing on the Intercontinental Championship, and that's what I'm going to do next week. So very great segment, great Intercontinental Women's Championship feud, great for all participants, great for the championship, great for the women's division as well. And also this show had a lot for women. Like you had a fatal four-way match, you had all the live stuff. Anyways, you had you know Liv versus Kyrie didn't really happen, but then you had that match. You had that Io Sky and Liv Morgan segment as well. You had this segment as well. So women were there, like featured a lot on this show, which I really like because they deserve it essentially. You also had the New Day in the ad break talking about they're gonna defend their titles, but they don't have any challengers. So I think they are not defending their titles. I do think they're building up a New Day versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory type of feud. I think because they had like them showing them arguing with the New Day where Bailey was coming into the arena, and I think that is probably the New Day's next defense. And I do think that is where eventually either Grayson turns or Austin, or like Austin turns or Grayson. I do think it will make more sense for Grayson to turn because it can be like the New Day grants them a title shot. They are not like then Austin Theory is not just able to get the job done. Grayson goes wild because of all the manipulation that New Day has done, and then New Day pins Austin Theory and win the title and retain the titles. I think that's what's going to happen next. You also had Penta in the ad break, and he was like, "Don't test me, I'm coming after you," and that's what happened. You also had Sammy and Cross. You had a John Cena and Punk video video package. They were not on the show. I thought that Seth was also not going to be on the show, but he was. You also had then the great you had Sheamus backstage where Maxine, Natalia, and Akira was there, and they were like, "I hope that you take care of Rusev tonight, man." Natalia in her fucking like accent, and Sheamus was like, "Yeah." Akira was like, "Kick his ass." Sheamus was like, "Yeah, I'll kick his ass." AJ Styles like actually like stole the Intercontinental Championship. Like AJ looks cool. One thing is AJ looks cool with all the stuff he does. His matches, I think his match against Chad Gable was much better. This match was fine. It just felt a little bit boring to me. I would not lie about that. Then he gave the title to Nick Aldis, and Nick Aldis said it. It's Dominic versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. I think this match is happening. I'm really glad that they finally went back to this feud, which like which kind of like changed because this was supposed to happen after WrestleMania, and at that time this story was actually building up to be like a normal feud. It's just that this feud like changed a lot. Dominic went back to Penta, AJ went back to nothing, and then now they have come back. I hope the landing next week is nice, that we do get like a good segment or something, because this feud has kind of been like, it started fine, but then it's like nothing feud. I know that the match is going to be great. I just hope the last segment, which happens next week, is great, and then I am not I will not be surprised if they have a great match. Like AJ will do everything to make Dominic look good in the match, and I think we'll probably see Roxanne interfering in the Dominic match and causing him to retain his title. Like they can do a lot of things with Liv not being there anymore. Also, it's just that they need to like put their minds to it, and they have a room of writers. Like they should, they're getting paid for it. So that was good stuff. I'm glad that this is finally like something relevant is finally happening. Like Dominic had like that Penta feud, which was like normal. It made sense, but nobody expected it on a pay per view. This is a feud that, yeah, actually he's doing something worthwhile. Then and I hope that JD can actually like bulk up. With his size, only way that he can become a serious single size is if he bulks up. I can also see that maybe Roxanne wins the Queen of the Ring. Maybe, or no, I think maybe probably next week Jade beats Roxanne. You set up like an EO versus Roxanne match at Night of Champions there. Roxanne loses, maybe because of some Dominic stuff happening. That way EO gets that thing, and then Roxanne can become tag team champions with Raquel. You can do that also. I don't think probably the next like proper feud for the New Day is the Judgment Day, because they have been talking about like next week Judgment Day is going for the tag team championship, and I can see the Judgment Day becoming champions again. I won't be surprised if the Judgment Day wins the titles again. Like Judgment Day wins a title, lol. Like just to like set up that like Finn is the man that you should listen to. So maybe setting that up. And then you had like a great fatal four way, like proper great fatal four way between uh, Rusev, Sheamus, and Jey Uso. One thing that I don't get about Jey Uso, you just lost your world title last week, and you are talking like you're like fucking Steve Austin, like doing the, it's 1-1, he won, I'm gonna win today, yeah. What? You just lost your world title in front of your child. And you're doing this, you're doing the yeet stuff. Like, why aren't you coming serious to the ring? I'm not saying he has to be brooding, he can still be happy go lucky. Like, just be a little bit more serious. You lost the title that you worked for 15 years to get. It's just bizarre to me. And he had a new shirt. You have a new shirt after losing the world championship? Doesn't make sense to me. He came out, he did his entrance. You had Rusev coming out, you had Sheamus, you had Bronson Reed. One thing with that is that Rusev, they have not really given that much attention to him. I'm not saying they have buried him, But they'll go like they'll have a Rusev promo, then they'll be like 2 weeks before he's on the show, and then he's on the show. But this match showed why Sheamus is the right first opponent for Rusev to get him over again. And like this match, like you had them throwing each other around. You even had like between the ad breaks where Bronson and Sheamus and Rusev like beating each other, like throwing each other over tables. But you had them focusing on Jay and Sheamus. You had really good spots, man, in this match. Like Rusev throwing Bronson into the steel cage, like Bronson throwing Sheamus over the barricade, then Sheamus rising like the Undertaker behind him. You had especially the exchange between Rusev and Sheamus, just like clobbering each other. Like Sheamus hitting the multiple kicks, Bronson hitting the tsunami. Even Jay looked good. Like his suicide dives looked good. Like his comeback, which is a little bit unrealistic, but him hitting those super kicks on everyone looked good as well. In the end, you had Sheamus and Rusev kind of like taking each other out because Rusev was going for the Coquina was going for his finisher on Jey Uso, like, but then Sheamus hit him with the kick. He hit multiple people with the kick. I think then Bronson took him out of the match, and then Bronson was kind of like ready. Like Jey Uso was going at top for the splash, but then Braun Breaker comes, throws him off, and then Bronson hits him with the, I think it was the white cross or something. I don't know what's that move called. Even Sheamus hit it on Bronson. He waited so that people can actually see how like big of a thing it is to have someone like a Bronson Reed on his back for that long. So you had Bronson going for the. Then what you had was Sami Zayn comes out. He attacks Braun Breaker, but then and then he tries to run towards Braun Breaker, but then Braun Breaker stops him by just grabbing his collar and doing the and then picking him up and throwing him over the table. And then you had a Wild Penta appearing, giving him like the topic on Hilo. That took him out. Then you had Bronson on the top rope going for the tsunami. Then LA Knight shows up to a huge pop, like throws Bronson Reed over the top rope. Jay hits him with the super kick. Jay hits him with the splash. Jay is going into the semi-finals. But then you had Seth Rollins' music hit, people singing his song, him coming to the ring with a nice suit on, like great suit. Like his fits after the WrestleMania have not been goofy at all. Like they've been awesome. Like because he's angry because his plan has gone array. Like his plan was to make sure that they're secured, that he has the money in the bank and the other person can have the King of the Ring victory. But then he comes out, he's there to beat up Jey Uso. But then a wild Cody Rhodes appears to a huge pop, especially the children in the crowd. And then you had Cody Rhodes step up to Seth Rollins, and you had what we wanted. Holy shit, indeed, holy shit chance to Seth Rollins. I like this dynamic a lot because I was kind of like, in my mind, fantasy booking that Cody versus Jay is going to happen next week, but then Seth is going to come out and he's going to kind of like screw Jey Uso, but Cody is not going to know about it, and Cody is going to win. And maybe Cody after the match sees it, he's going to see like, why is Seth out here, and then he sees it like on the replays, oh, I didn't win the match on my own. Like Jey Uso was taken out by Seth, he interfered. But this also makes a lot of sense, like Cody and Seth having their own arc going on. Like before Money in the Bank on SmackDown, you had a stare down. Here Cody comes out to save Seth. Like then Seth goes out of the ring and like he's trying to like calm them, Paul Heyman and everyone. And then Cody and Jay is in the ring, and you're getting it, Cody versus Jay next week. Maybe Seth is gonna interfere there too. Maybe Seth interferes, inadvertently Cody wins, and this is setting up a lot. Like you have that foreshadowing done on Gunther of Seth, so that you are, like in a state of confusion that who is Seth going to cash in on, because he's having this thing with Cena, Cody, Jay, where it's like they're confronting each other, but then also Gunther mentioned him because of the stuff that happened weeks ago. So you're kind of like, yeah, like who is Seth gonna cash in on? Like this Seth with the Money in the Bank storyline has been way more interesting than anyone thought. People thought that this was going to be one and done, like Seth just cashes in, like it's out of the way. But this has made the show very much more interesting, and I do think this sets up what is going to happen at Night of Champions, which I think is probably LA Knight, uh, either LA Knight, Jey Uso, and Penta, or it's going to be LA Knight, Jey Uso, and LA Knight, Jey Uso, and Penta, or it's going to be LA Knight, Sammy, and Penta, which are going to face. I do think it's probably going to be Sammy because Sammy is not going to win next week. Is not going to win this Friday. Like I'm pretty sure. I think probably Braun Breaker is going to interfere, and that's going to cause Randy to win. And I do think that kind of like sets up a Randy heel turn in the future too, because Randy won because because Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker interfered in the LA Knight match, and maybe Randy wins because this faction again interferes, causes Sami Zayn to lose, and Randy wins. In a way, Randy can say, I'll do whatever it takes to win, but then it's like you just took the help from, inadvertently, but it took the help from this faction. So this sets up a lot of storyline opportunities there also. This is where WWE is great and Triple H is booking is great when stories intertwine, and that sets up like other storylines, other heel turns, which lead to another universe of great intertwining storylines. So I do think it's probably going to be that, because you're going to put Sammy on the Saudi show. So I don't think there is any other way other than the King of the Ring or this match to put Sammy on the show, and that is what's probably going to happen. I think Sammy is going to make that show. And I do think they're gonna win. They're probably gonna win, because I don't think they want to give Sammy a loss at Saudi Arabia. But do you want your faction going for the first time as a six-man tag to get a loss? I do think you can still have them lose if you have a big return like a Roman Reigns, but I don't think Roman Reigns will return on like a six-man tag match. So let's see what happens. Overall, I'll give this a Raw a 3.5 or a 4. Probably it deserves to be a 3.5, but the feeling is like a 4. So that was my review. What did you think about the show? What did you think about my review? Tell me in the comment section. If you like this type of content, like this, share and subscribe. If you don't, then share it with those who do. My social media accounts, which are my Twitter/X account and my Instagram account, links are in the description, so go follow me on that. My UPI ID link, which is shabboy@okicici, is in the description also, so go donate any amount of money which you can, which can help me make YouTube a permanent career option. So that was it for me for today. So thank you, goodbye, alvida.